Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fantastic. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to create a card with the Spellbinders Clear Stamp of the Month Club Kit for June 2021. It's called Circle of Sunshine. So there's a whole bunch of circles with images in there, and then the sun you can add sentiments behind it or underneath it. But sentiments in here all have to do with sunshine, so I think it's really fun. It actually can coordinate with the Spellbinders small die of the month club kit, so if you're a multiple club member, check the large die and also the small die of the month club kits, because they coordinate with the stamp set. You can mix and match, which makes it nice. So I'm going to do just that and take the triangle shape from this month's small die of the month club kit and also the circle. These sentiments that are circle shaped will fit perfectly in that circle die cut. Well, once we die cut it. Now I have a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock. I changed my craft desk up because I kept getting whitewashed out. So maybe this little wood platform's a little bit better, but I have to bring in some extra tools so I can do blending and coloring and stamping. So we'll see how this goes. But I'm taking the small flower in this stamp set. There's two. I'm taking the largest of the two, and we're going to fill in this Bristol Smooth cardstock all over the panel here. My panel is a card front size panel. We're going to cover it with white embossing powder, and then we are going to melt it with my heat gun. And once we're good to go, we're going to do a little ink blending with some Distress Oxide inks. Now I'm using my favorite colors. I've been using these a lot lately, but we're going to bring in my little ink blending mat here and then we're going to bring in some oxide inks. I have Squeezed Lemonade, I have Dried Marigold, and I have Wild Honey. Not in that particular order, but we're going to start off by ink blending at a diagonal with Squeezed Lemonade in this bottom right corner. Next we're going to take our Wild Honey, and I need my Wild Honey blending tool, so I'm going to go back to my drawer and grab that real fast. And again, we're going at a diagonal, blending the two together as we go. Once we have Wild Honey down, we're going to take Dried Marigold. This is a little tricky for me because usually I can just leave my blending tools on my craft mat and then wipe it up. But since this is actually real wood that I'm working on, I just can't do that. So I thought the Dried Marigold was a little too light. So we're going to switch up that color with a little bit darker ink. Now this dark ink is Ripe Persimmon, and we're going to ink blend that into our Wild Honey. And then lastly, I'm going to actually flip my panel over. So I'm going to grab some tape, and I brought in some picked raspberry. We're going to go in this top corner here and blend these two together. Bring in our little pink. Usually when you add the pink with your Squeezed Lemonade, you get that real pretty corally color, but I'm helping it along with those extra orange colors. So that is our background panel. And I love the way this looks. I love the way that white just comes through. And I got lucky. Sometimes when you create a background with the one small image, sometimes you have a tendency to overlap on one or two of the images, but I got lucky. I got close to overlapping, but I didn't, so it worked out good. Now I did add water to get a little distressed look, and then I did wipe it off with my towel. And when I wiped it off with my towel, I kind of buffed away the ink from my images. Next up, we are going to take that circle die and die cut it out of white cardstock, and then I'll take this triangle piece, and at the angle that my ink blending is, I kind of cut some triangles out with that. Now when I cut out the circle with the circle die, I kept it inside the cardstock. For me, it's easier to eyeball this way when I stamp a sentiment shape in a sentiment or in a die cut shape. So what we're going to do is take the sentiment in our Circle of Sunshine stamp set. I don't know if I mentioned the name of this month's stamp set, but it's I chose the sentiment that says "Wish You Were Here," and I'm inking it up with my Ripe Persimmon ink, and then I'm doing a little ink blending with my picked raspberry on just the bottom area where those flowers are. We're going to stamp on the white cardstock, and it's stamped perfectly centered. and our sentiment's good to go. Now for a background, I have a piece of white cardstock, and this die is actually meant to create like some sun rays, but it's versatile because you can flip-flop, mix and match, and that's what I'm going to do. Instead of going in a circle shape, we're going to go in a rectangle shape. And we're just going to continue that pattern down to the bottom of our card base. It's going to be a little bit of a gap, about a 1-inch gap, and that's where I'm going to put my sentiment. So we're just putting the wide end on the right and then flip-flopping it to where the wide end is on the left. And I love the way this turned out. Now you don't necessarily have to go with your color that you ink blended at a diagonal. You could mix and match if you wanted, but I like the transition between the pink and then the yellow. Okay, I did trim down my panel. I trimmed about 3/4 of an inch off of it. Next, I did think we needed just a little added color on the very bottom. So we're going to take our scrap piece that we die cut out with, and we're just going to add some tape behind one of the pieces and add it to the very bottom. And I'm actually going to raise it. You see how on the top we have about 1/8 of an inch piece of white cardstock showing? I'm eventually going to move this up to where we have that same 1/8 of an inch on the bottom too. Just kind of so it's, when you eyeball it, it's nice and even. Okay, we are going to take this panel and add foam adhesive behind it. And then after we get this done, I'm going to take some gold wire. Today's card is a pretty simple card, but I do want to add a little added texture. So we'll grab our card base. We're going to take the release paper off of our foam adhesive and then place our panel on our card base, which is a standard A2 size card base. I did push it all the way, almost all the way to the left of our card, so I have that white strip showing. I think it's going to give me a little bit of balance. Next, I just kind of taking some of that thin gold wire that I have, and I'm going to go ahead and add it behind the foam adhesive on my sentiment, just to give it a little sparkle. And then I decided to matte my sentiment on some gold cardstock. I'm using the Spellbinders Mirror Gold cardstock. If you haven't tried it, you're going to love it. It does dent easily. You'll see here. My nail kind of created a crease in it, but it die cuts so nice. If you have embossed detail on any of your dies, this works fabulous. Okay, we're going to add adhesive behind our gold here, and then this is going to go in the lower left corner. And I did make, since it's so low on my panel, basically that gold wire is moving up towards the top inside, not on the bottom or the left. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take my towel and kind of buff away a little bit more of that ink so it's a little more vibrant white. And then I'm going to go ahead and use some of my color essential gems. This is the gold mix, and we're just going to add, I love this because there's itty bitty tiny gold gems, so just add that tiny spark of color, just what you need for a card like this. But that's my project today using the Clear Stamp of the Month Club Kit. Again, it's called Circle of Sunshine. If you want to check it out, it's listed down below. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.